Hi, my name is Souheils. I'm a T3 complete paraplegic. I've been in a wheelchair for the past 11 years, and I purchased this vehicle about a year ago, and I purchased it for one reason and one reason alone, because it makes my life a lot easier, and I was sick and tired of blowing out my shoulder, putting my chair in and out of my truck prior to this vehicle. This vehicle is equipped with the newest hand controls out there, and they provide with a lot more ease and comfort when driving. What the hand controls do have is it's got the signals on the hand controls, and it's just by a button that goes up and down. It's got the braking, which is forward, the gas to pull back, and then the best thing about the hand controls is when you're sitting at a set of lights, you can lock it in brake motion, so you don't have to hold the hand control at all times. Another great function of this hand control is that an able-bodied person can still drive the vehicle with their feet. It's got the horn on the hand control, so you don't have to move your hand. And then also it's got a cruise control button here that you can get set as well. Another function of this vehicle is the canopy and the seats, and everything is controlled by these buttons here on the dash. This is the on-off switch here for the vehicle. This is if you take it to a gas station, or body shop, and you don't want them playing with it. This shuts the power off. But these buttons here is the heart of the modifications of this vehicle. Equipped in this vehicle is also a rear view camera. Because the truck is so large and with all the tinted windows, at nighttime you can't see what's behind you. So as a safety feature, I've installed a backup camera so that you can see what is behind you when backing up. The canopy lifts by just one button that I showed on the dash, and you can use the entire thing while you're sitting in the vehicle. So in the winter you can stay warm until the chair gets to the preferred spot that you want it. So I'm just going to show you how the canopy works, and by a button it just opens up like this. And then once the canopy is all the way up, it's got limit switches, so the canopy or the chair do not over exceed their limits. So after that, the chair just gets pulled up by a Bruno arm, and it too has a limit switch, so it stops. So you just keep holding it until it stops itself. And then one other button pulls the chair all the way out of the vehicle. To the preferred spot, and you stop it as well, and then you just drop it down. One thing you learn quite quickly is where to stop so you don't hit your vehicle. At this point, I usually just leave the chair there, and that's when I start to get out of the vehicle. I just drop the seat again, bring it up to the preferred level, and then just drop down. And at this point, this is where you can control how close you want it to your vehicle, and then it drops down with a tether, and you just pull it close to you, and that's it. With this here, the way that it's hooked on is underneath the cushion. We've installed seatbelt clips, and with the seatbelt clips hooked onto the chair, you just push the button on either side, and this becomes loose, and then you use the tether again just to lift up, and it's disconnected from your wheelchair. And then once it's up, you can just do the whole process in reverse, and the arm goes back in the truck, and then the canopy just comes down at that point. Once that's done, you're ready to go. You transfer into your wheelchair and you're off. The whole process takes about 30-35 seconds for the entire thing, but the part of transferring in and that is an extra whatever it takes you to transfer in and out, but the whole process I think is under a minute. So one thing that had to be changed in the vehicle was for the seat here to be able to fold up and sit up against the vehicle, the chair when the door is shut. We had to move the controls for the seat, and one thing that paras or quads always want in a vehicle are power seats, so you don't have to keep pulling and pushing. So the electric seats are nice, but we ended up moving these so they wouldn't impede the seat to the door. And now all the controls, and in this vehicle it's a 6-way seat, and I didn't want to lose the heated seating component in this vehicle, whereas if I would have kept those there, we would have had to lose all the power seat and all the heated seats. So that was a modification that we just moved over into the door, and it seems to work just fine. It's fantastic for my needs. You're able to modify not every vehicle out there, but I was able to modify a 4-door vehicle. Prior to this vehicle, I had an SUV, and getting in and out of that and taking the chair apart and putting it in blew out my shoulders. So hence the fact that I needed a modified vehicle. So I looked at the minivans, but I didn't want just a plain minivan because it didn't hold much room once you were actually in there. With this vehicle, I have the open tailgate that I can throw in extra wheelchairs, I can throw in luggage. If we have kids, you can throw in strollers and whatnot, whereas in a minivan, once your wheelchair is in there and one other person, the van is pretty much full. So the cost of the vehicle is the same cost as a modification to a lowered floor minivan. This entire setup was about roughly $40,000 on top of the vehicle cost itself.